the Lexington Music Awards. It comes up at the end of each of our ceremonies here, where we honor the lifetime achievements of some folks who have meant so much to the Lexington music community. We have 4 recipients tonight. Our first is going to be Tripp Bratton. Video and recording artist, and a sound engineer here in Lexington. From the better known and most sought after percussionists in Kentucky, Tripp is in a league with very few others, with a reputation for versatility, excellence, creativity, and collaboration in performance, production, and education. It's appropriate that tonight we are presenting Tripp with a Lifetime Achievement Award. He comes from a family of folks who have always made music. His mother, the late Gail Winters, was a Grammy-nominated jazz and R&B vocalist. His brother Artie is a guitarist, singer, and songwriter. Even Tripp's grandparents were music makers, with the entire family traveling through eastern Kentucky in the 40s and 50s. Notable examples of Tripp's work as a performer and band member include concert appearances with the all-star band Tin Can Buddha, which was featured in a 2011 KET documentary. Recording and performing with Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee Bernie Worrell. Recording with Grammy Award winner Bella Flack. And numerous international performances with Ghanaian master drummer Gideon Alorwi and his Africana cultural troupe, including a 1993 Chicago performance for Nelson Mandela. Please help us congratulate Tripp Bratton, 2024 recipient of the Lexington Music Lifetime Achievement Award.
Thank you all so much. I love your words tonight. We really have to build bridges. You know, I come from a family, I can almost just leave it at what you said about me. I come from a family from eastern Kentucky, the Shibble family, and there was so much love in that family. And, you know, one of the things that I took, well, first of all, you know, Renee mentioned that, that my mom and I are the first mother and son duo to have gotten a Lifetime Achievement Award. I was talking to my brother. Last night, and he said, oh, "You're not done yet, are you? You still got a lot left going on. I mean, you're still in the thick of it." I'm like, "Yeah, I've still got a lot more to do." So I'm still in the middle of all this. I'm trying to get going, but I really owe a big debt to my grandfather and my grandmother, the Shibble family, Arthur Peel Shibble, Maxine. You know, he was Arthur. My grandfather Arthur, my brother Arthur's over here somewhere, here he is. Wonderful guitar player with my sister-in-law Amy and Avery over there. She may be up here someday as a singer-songwriter, or we don't know. We'll see what she's got up her sleeve. She's a wonderful artist herself. But you know, it was very, very magical being able to go visit the Shibble family. You know, he comes from, my grandfather Arthur came from a whole family of singers. They had the Shibble brothers. They sang and lifted people's spirits. And, you know, the sisters, the Shibble sisters, they sang, and they were all famous in eastern Kentucky for just bringing such magic into their singing. And you know, for Mom to go from eastern Kentucky to New York City to around the world playing with all the best jazz musicians and all of, that you could anywhere on any stage internationally. And the reason she got there is because one of the things my grandfather gave to all of us, and I was fortunate enough to have at least 20, 30 years on this earth with him, was his service to people. And, you know, he was a Nazarene minister. He ministered to people, but he didn't preach, he ministered. He gave people help, he lifted their spirits. He had a pet cemetery. People who had their cats or their dogs would pass away. He would serve them. He would give them their, you know, beautiful services for their beloved lost pets. He would do, you know, funerals, weddings, things like that. He even took water softeners around eastern Kentucky to make sure people had good water. It was all about serving people, about lifting spirits, and you know, his influence on my mom and her sisters. You know, they listened to music like Mahalia Jackson and the Golden Gate Quartet. Ray Charles, and just some of the most soulful music that's ever been. And that just fueled me, it fueled the whole family. And when we would get together, it was almost like a little trip to paradise, where the sisters would be singing around the piano with Ann playing the piano, and Mom singing, and Bunny doing the high parts, and Janet doing the trumpet imitations, and all this kind of stuff. And it was just such beauty, such wonder, and it was just like, wow, this is like, it's my happy place, Anytime I'm sad, I think I go to my happy place, and I'm just there and feeling that love and that vibe. And it was never about what you look like. It was about whether you had soul, whether you had spirit, whether you were trying to raise people up and make them feel more connected to, as Divine said, with humanity. And, I could be up here for a long time if I don't just kind of edit myself a little bit. But, my mom carried that into, my full life, and I was really blessed to be able to do a lot of work with her. After she left New York, went back to Lexington, I worked with her, and we got to do the Tin Can Buddha special, which was another really super special event with Lee Carroll and his whole crew. And that was my first time meeting Lee, and being able to do that with my mom and Harry Pickens and all these beautiful, wonderful musicians, and Mitch Oganoff, who recently passed, and just a beautiful spirit himself. The common thread is what I carried from my childhood, and that's lifting people up through the spirit of music, through connections, through breaking barriers, breaking through stereotypes, breaking through barriers of ignorance or barriers of just, judging people by what they look like or sound like or where they're from or how they, carry themselves or whatever. It's deeper than that, and we are all part of the same spirit of light and love. I'd like to thank all the people that I've been able to work with, but I don't have time to do that. But I would like to thank March Madness Marching Band for being such a wonderful part of the community, a big part of, it's kind of part of my mission to include people, and that's part of what March Madness is. My drummers back here, the Pangea drummers, who, anyone is welcome to drum with us, and we go out and do performances and try to make the vibes better wherever we go. The Empower Rhythm kids over here, and these kids, I am so blessed. Yeah, give them a big, give this go around here, give this go and I've been really blessed to have opportunity after opportunity, but I would like to also really mention a really pivotal point in my life. I went to the University of Kentucky and met a lot of wonderful people there that are still out there doing wonderful work. Keith McCutcheon we were in jazz band together, and he's out doing wonderful work, all that. I met, folks like Renee, all that. But my friend Lance Bruner introduced me to Catherine Kramer, who introduced me to Mariah Cruz, who brought me into a dance company here in Lexington called Syncopated Inc. Now, if you know about Syncopated Inc., give them a big hand right now. But we need more Syncopated Incs in the city. Syncopated Inc. had a mission, a lot of missions, but one of the ones that stuck with me was to bring in artists and dancers and musicians from outside of our culture, particularly from the African diaspora traditions, African drummers, Brazilian, Caribbean drummers. And if it weren't for my exposure to that culture via Syncopated Inc., all the work that they did to bring in these artists, I would not have had the exposure that I have had. Because Lexington is not, known for its African music. Not yet, anyway. But there have been some wonderful African musicians here, and there still are. And Lee Carroll's doing a wonderful job with his work with Reading Room Exchange, bringing in more artists from around the world to help, give this area more exposure to the world of music outside of, what we have available to us. This community is very special in and of itself, but it's always wonderful to be able to be part of the bigger world of music. So I will just leave it at that. Syncopated Inc. was a big turning point in my life, and a lot of what I have done since then has really become through that. And I will say also Aminata Cairo, if you know her, she is a wonderful person. I consider her my soul sister. She is, along with Mariah Cruz, really two wonderful, powerful women that not only wonderful dancers, wonderful artists, creators, but they also have the vision of like what Divine was talking about, building bridges across communities between different types of people, between underserved and people with means, trying to help make things happen, trying to get past the structural barriers that can sometimes slow down. Love can kind of keep love from enveloping us all. And, that's the one thing we need more than anything in these days, is to be able to see through our various differences. And I will leave with a quote from my mom, from the Marching Band project we did, the song of me and Artie, and our mom wrote. And we did a video of it. You can find it on YouTube or Facebook. It's called We Will Survive. And it kind of sums up my thoughts. It's one of her lyrics. Bring your instruments of love and come and join the band. Forget the differences created by man. United in the spirit, I know we can. Create a new and wondrous, joyous